Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio, 95.7 FM. I'm Kevin Kietzman with you the next hour until Vince Cullinase takes the airwaves with the Vince Show. We got a fine broadcast lined up today, including, I can't even believe I'm going to go here, but we are at some point on the show today going to Muslims and dogs. Yeah, you don't want to know. It's not my story. It's not my story. It's out there, and it's pretty wild. It has to do with maybe canceling or censuring a U.S. representative in the House of Representatives. This is a weird one, but we're going to have some fun with that. We will take that on. Also, the Potomac River is a mess in D.C., and Nantucket Island is the wealthiest island in America, and they have told the people in Maryland and D.C., hold my beer, because our sewage has something more outrageous than all the human waste that you have stuck in the Potomac River right now. We'll check in with Mark at the end of the show. Tyreek Hill has been released. He's out there. I assumed walking in today I would see nothing but red on Mark Van Sickle, but he's all blued up for the Royals, ready to rock and find out where the new stadium is going to be. And, of course, we're going to give away some tickets at 10:45. Santana and Doobie Brothers coming to Morton Amphitheater this summer. So's Dierks Bentley, by the way. Just announced Dierks Bentley. I'm looking forward to that show. We start today with what feels like to me a full-on leftist / local media blitz in Kansas City that they are just begging for trouble. There has been nothing happen since a woman tried to set the would-be ICE detention facility. No deal was ever done. Just the thought of a building in Kansas City becoming property of the federal government and turning it into ICE detention was enough for some crazy lady to try to set fire on it. By the way, the worst arsonist in the history of arson. Did you see how scared she was? You know, you've heard the terribly sexist but accurate comment, he throws like a girl. You know, she sprays lighter fluid like a girl. It was unbelievable watching her try to set that thing on fire. Now, she was terrified, and she should have been, because the most surprising part of the outcome of this failed arsonist is she didn't set herself on fire. Truly, that was amazing. But the thing she was spraying with the lighter fluid and trying to set on fire, she had no chance of it transferring. A really, really poor, bad arsonist. And as Pete has said, authorities seem to know who this is. Like, there was no other way that woman was walking away with Channel 9 footage and her neighbors didn't spot her. Oh, well, that's my neighbor. And certainly she's got people that know her that don't believe in her politics or want to burn down facilities in the name of I hate Donald Trump. And they were going to turn her in. She had no chance of getting away with this once Channel 9 was there shooting video and she didn't know it. So they know who she is and we got nothing? We're 5 days in on this. They don't care. So what's being coordinated here between the left, the media, and maybe even authorities? Because my guess is right now some people are handcuffed in picking this woman up and taking care of this. Instead, what we get over the weekend is two brothers at a Walmart in Olathe, admittedly on camera, saying they were trying to evade the authorities that they thought were looking for them. ICE agents are here. We're trying to evade them. We're trying to run from them. We pull over on the street. We do whatever it was that they did. We're trying to get away from these guys, but we don't. And then after we try to evade them, they yank us out, and, of course, they toss us to the ground and unnecessary violence, whatever. They detain them. They take them in. They charge them with nothing. They let them go. The whole while they're saying, hey, we're an American. The one kid says, I'm an American citizen. I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm a U.S. citizen. So we've got this going on. This story has way too many loose ends. I'm not going to say holes, but something's going on that was Saturday and today's Tuesday, and we don't know anything more than they picked these two up and they went to meet a girlfriend at Walmart, and they were all released, and we don't really know anything about them. We don't know a lot of status about the other people. They were told that they were being detained for possibly committing a crime. They were being questioned. This is no different than the delivery driver in Tucson that the Nancy Guthrie investigation was taking place. They went and detained him. He fit a profile of something. They're researching a crime. It happens. It happens. Okay? And it's not against the law. If you have cause to believe this is a person that committed a crime and you take them in, then you question them, and a few hours later you let them go, I'm sorry. That's part of our justice system. If it happens to you, You're not going to like it. I understand that. You're not going to like the experience of that. But they talk about how terrifying this is, and they're afraid of ICE. Why would you be afraid of ICE if they just let you go? I mean, these are the good guys. They question you and let you go, and your story to Channel 9 is, oh, my God, we're terrified. We don't know if we can sleep at night or ever get this out of our head. Really? Seems like they treated you okay. Did you hear the Billie Eilish guy from Australia that came here? He was going to go to Billie Eilish's house in Los Angeles because nobody's illegal on stolen land, and countries of stolen land can't have borders. So this guy from Australia says, well, I'm going to go test this. I'm going to live at Billie Eilish's house. He gets detained at the airport at LAX for 30 hours. And he said the agents actually kind of liked him. They're like, yeah, we know you're not going to do anything, but we got to do this, dude. We got to hang on to you. And we got to turn you back around. We're going to put you on a plane and send you back to Australia because it's what we got to do. It's what you got to do. Sometimes somebody doesn't commit a crime, you get detained. You get questioned about things. The Guthries have been through it at some point. They've probably sat for hours with investigators on this situation. It's part of the deal. So what do we not know about this story? They just wanted to blow it out there that, oh, my God, look at him roughhousing this guy, and he's a U.S. citizen. Yeah, well, U.S. citizens get detained and released all the time. But what they want here in Kansas City feels like a full-on media blitz. They want people to go out and document ICE agents anywhere they can, which I love this. This is the best part. Listen to the word document in this headline. They want you to document ICE agents picking up undocumented people. Yes, document the ICE agents. Don't document the illegal aliens. Okay. They want to teach community members. Wait, I'm a community member. You're the party of identifying everyone, whether it's skin color or religion or gender or sexual preference or age or whatever it may be, whatever bias you have as a liberal, okay? You identify everyone. What do you mean community members? Which community? You love identifying communities. Which community are you trying to teach to put videos on the street of ICE agents doing their job? Which community is that? The illegal alien community? The Karen community? I honestly don't know. I just want to know. Put a name on something. At least own up to what you're doing. Because community members doesn't get it. Most community members are interested in watching illegal aliens handcuffed and taken away. That's most community members here. You live in Kansas or Missouri, if you're listening to this show, in all likelihood. And the large majority of people, overwhelming majority of people, are in favor of detaining, arresting, and deporting illegal aliens, especially illegal alien criminals. What community members are you talking about? You want to teach them this. So they find a lady who's a lawyer, and she wants to teach them about what they can do. But she doesn't teach them that they'll get $3,000 in a flight anywhere in the world to start over. They don't teach them that. They teach them, we want you to go do this. Don't touch the ICE agent, but go out and document all this. And they find this attorney. Her name is Mackenzie Smith. She's on Channel 41. And she says, quote, people are scared. Well, I'm people. I'm not scared. Why are they scared? She says, they're not going to birthday parties right now. Oh, really? You're so terrified of ICE, you're not going to a birthday party. She's coaching them to not interfere, but to observe and do all these things. And we've got these people out here that are going to do this stuff. The ICE arson story is way bigger than these two young men that were detained and released. If there is more to that story, if ICE did something wrong, okay, I want to know about it. I'm like everyone else. But it feels like they just threw a story up against the wall and we have no context, no update, no detail. And trust me, if it's been 3 days and the liberal media in this town haven't found wrongdoing by ICE yet, it's probably not coming. It was probably mostly just theater that they wanted to put this out there and do that. Instead, we got people running around saying they're scared. They're community members and they're scared to go live their lives, which I just don't understand. I don't get that at all. The only reason to be scared of ICE is if you've done something wrong. If you've broken a law, you should be afraid of anyone. Well, I'm broadcasting from Overland Park. If I'd broken a law, I'd be afraid the Overland Park police are coming in here to get me. I'd be afraid of anything. You should always be looking over your shoulder if you've broken a law. If you're a bad person, you've done something wrong, you should be scared. And if you are an illegal alien in this country, you should be a little bit scared. They're offering you money to leave on your own. You'll never have to deal with ICE. They'll walk you right to the airport, put you on a plane, pick a country. You're on your way with $3,000 in your pocket. Sounds like a pretty good deal to me if you're scared. So let me summarize this by saying this. I don't really believe they're scared. I don't believe they're scared at all. I think they've watched the proceedings of what's happened and said, you know what, if I don't run my car into somebody or don't take a gun and get in an ICE agent's face, I'm going to be fine. That these really are, like these are the least scared people in the history of the world. Nobody's really afraid of ICE. You may be a little scared that you're going to get deported because you don't want to get deported, okay? But you're not afraid that they're going to bust in your house and shoot you and kill you or rough you up or any of that stuff. Unless you're a member of Tren de Aragua. And if you are, you ought to be scared. No, this feels performative in Kansas City now. We've not heard the mayor really come out and say anything terrible about the woman that tried to set fire to the possible ICE detention facility. Nobody seems to be in any hurry to arrest her. No, we want to talk about these two 19-year-olds. At least one that's an American citizen. They didn't identify the rest as American citizens. We still don't know that. I assume they are, or they would have been maybe kept and turned over to the authorities. So I'm assuming they're American citizens, or this would have had some sort of different ending the way it's going. But no, there's an underlying simmering pot of angst in the liberal community, which includes the media in this town, that they want something to happen. They do. They can't say it out loud. They want something to happen. My God, they were hoping that was it at the Walmart in Olathe. They were just so hoping that something went disastrously wrong by ICE and they could have their big national story. No, they're here. They're among us. They're in the media, and they're elected politicians, and they're dying for something really bad to happen in Kansas City so we can be on the map as hating Donald Trump right here. We got to have this. It's what I wake up every day thinking about. I hate Trump. We got to have some mayhem in our community so we can really hate on him and let the whole world show that Kansas City hates him too. God help these people. 913-408-7957. That's 408-7957. If you'd like to join us, this is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio.
From Leewood to Liberty, it's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
All right, we're back. Another little piece of this story about what happened in Olathe over the weekend with these two brothers and a girlfriend that were stopped by ICE. And I'm just being honest with you from the very get-go. I just told John during the break. From the get-go, when I hear a story, I don't think ICE is stupid. And I don't think they do things for no reason. And I think they're probably being more cautious right now than they've ever been to not have a high-profile mistake somewhere. So when they do this, I immediately think there's just a lot to this story we don't know. What was the comment by the kid said, I don't want this for my parents? Like right in the middle of the deal, he's like, I don't want this, something about his parents. I'm like, what? Is there a chance that the kids are legal and the parents aren't? And what they're really after is the parents and something happened? I mean, we've seen those stories, right? We saw that in Minnesota with the 5-year-old boy. They just tossed him out and said, okay, make him deal with that. I'm going to run and leave my kid behind. We've seen people do that. And they say they're scared or they're worried. Well, they should be. You got a 5-year-old. If you're illegal here and you've committed a crime and ICE is looking for you and you have a 5-year-old, take the money and fly. Get out. Go. Start your life over. Raise your child. It just doesn't make sense. And these boys were like, oh, our parents. We're like, there's got to be something with the parents. There is more to this story. And there's two reasons why. ICE, these people aren't stupid. All right. They're looking for people for a reason. And two, it's been 3 days now, and the libs in the media in this town haven't followed up with more trash on ICE because they haven't found anything. And trust me, they're working. Channel 41 wrote this beautiful paragraph. I'm not sure I know what this means. This is in their story. They decided this is so awful in Olathe. Well, we got to go find somebody in Olathe and get a quote from them, just like a resident. So they found a woman named Danica Reyes. And here's what this says. Quote, this is a huge area where Hispanics live. Me, personally, immigrant born, it's heartbreaking to see. Wait a second. What is immigrant born? And who talks like that? You can't be born an immigrant. Immigrant born mean you're born to parents that are immigrants? So are you saying you're a citizen, your parents are illegal, and so you're trying to put yourself in some scary category? Me, personally, immigrant born. I don't know what immigrant born is. I'm going to assume what she meant to say is my parents were immigrants. Maybe, because she goes on to say that the entire community of Olathe is on edge after it's confirmed ICE presence is in her neighborhood. Quote, I am a U.S. citizen, she says. And here's the second giant problem that we have in this country. This is the root of what's wrong with all of this. And you know, you're born in America to illegal aliens and you become a citizen is wrong. And here's why. She continued, but my roots are Mexican, Hispanic. I am 100% for my people. That's right. She's 100% for the Mexican people, not the American. She thinks being a U.S. citizen is like having a diamond ring on her hand or something, or a new car. I got some fancy jewelry. I got a new car. Look at me. I got a U.S. citizenship over here. It means nothing to her to be a U.S. citizen. Zero. Here's how you know it's zero. Quote, I am 100% for my people. Well, at the same time, nanny, ha, you can't do anything to me because I'm a U.S. citizen. Immigrant born, which I assume means her parents are illegal. And she got dropped here on U.S. soil, and we got a stupid interpretation of the Constitution that says that makes you a citizen, which it most certainly should not. I'm not a legal guy. I can't tell you what the legal parameters would be on something like that, but that's got to be another 85% American. If you do a poll on that, if you're born to illegal aliens on American soil, should you be an American citizen? I guarantee you 80% of Americans will say, hell no. These are such cut and dried things, and they're so easy for most people to see and to understand that this is not who we are or what we were meant to be, and it's not who we want to be. And yet we keep doing it, and now it's in Kansas City more and more and more as we're seeing things pop up, which I understand it. If I was living in Mexico right now and they were cracking down in Mexico and I'd never even tried to become a citizen, oh, my God, how about this? How about if I had children there with my wife and supposedly they're citizens and I'm not. On what planet would I stay there? Wait, we could be split up. My child is a citizen. I'm not. I could be arrested. Wouldn't you just leave? I've never met a friend or a relative or anyone in my life that would say, no, I just go ahead and stay in Mexico and take my chances with the authorities. What? Who does that? I mean, at this point, it's been a year. We've had millions of people leave between deportations and self-deportations and incarcerated, okay? So we're into big numbers now. This is nothing new. They know everything about it. This is not, it just started, I got caught. Can you imagine yourself living in Mexico for a year with your wife illegally there, okay? You're illegal, and you had a child who is a citizen of Mexico, and now a new president came into Mexico, and they're cracking down, and everybody's got to go, and you've stayed a year and haven't left. No, it's ludicrous. They are not afraid of Trump. They are not afraid of ICE. They're saying, you don't scare us. We've been here long enough that you don't scare us. We know because we have the media on our side. Just watch us. Uncanceled continues on KCMO right after the news.
From Lenexa to Lee Summit, it's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
I can honestly tell you, when I started out over 40 years ago in a career covering sports, I never thought in a million years I would do a story, comment on, or read anything with the headline Muslims and Dogs. But today, ladies and gentlemen, is your special day, because here we go. This is from Breitbart, okay? This ain't your humble host making this story up, but I'm going to ride along with it with a smile on my face and have some fun because it's just glorious. Several Democrats in the House of Representatives have instinctively accused Representative Randy Fine, a Republican from Florida, of racism after he reacted to a New York-based Muslim advocate, Nirden Kizwani, who said house pet dogs will not be welcome in a new, non-secular Islamic New York City. Here's what she posted, the Kizwani. Quote, New York City is coming to Islam. Kizwani posted on X, referring to the November electoral victory of Zoran Mamdani, the Ugandan-born Indian origin immigrant, populist, and Muslim mayor of New York. She added, quote, dogs definitely have a place in society, just not as indoor pets. Like we Muslims have said all along, they are unclean. Okay, this goes back to the 7th century with Muslims. Kizwani responded to many critics at that point that she heard from by saying, LMAO, laugh my tail off, at the Zionists frothing at the mouth at this, thinking they're doing something. It's obviously a joke. I don't care if you have a dog. I do care if your dog is crapping everywhere and you're not cleaning it up. So she sounded serious. Everybody hammered her, and she says I was making a joke. So 3 days later, Representative Fine, the congressman from Florida, decides he's going to jump in on the fun and make a joke of his own. He posted, if they force us to choose, the choice between dogs and Muslims is not a difficult one. Now, we're dog people, right up front. If my wife is forced to choose between the dog and the husband, I'm out. I'm telling you right now, don't mess with dogs. You want to commit political suicide in this country? I mean, Trump's amazing. Trump's like the only president ever without a dog. He doesn't really like dogs. I think he thinks they're a little dirty. Somehow he gets away with it, but he's done good things for dogs. He's had some great policies for people with pets. Trump's awesome. Like, he throws all these parties. They have the highest end liquor and champagne. He doesn't drink. Like, he understands people and what it is that they like to do and what's important to them, and respects the fact that what's important to you may not be important to him. He doesn't care about having a dog. He doesn't care about having fine wine. But he understands that people who love dogs really love their dog. Sometimes it's the center of their life. It's the most important thing that they have, especially older people that are single, alone, widowed, and they have a pet that they talk to all day long that talks back with their sweet eyes. So when this crazy lady in New York goes on and starts telling people you can't have dogs in the New York City, she sort of meant it, but it's sort of comedy. And Randy Fine came back with a zinger. Well, now they all want him out. Like, AOC's like, we need to censure this guy and take him off committees. You can't be this racist. Don't make a choice between dogs and Muslims is not a difficult one. That's pretty funny. And it cuts to the core. There's a whole lot of people in this country that would rather have a Muslim in their life than a dog. Okay? Because they're Muslim and they don't like dogs. And there's a whole lot of people in this country that love dogs that don't need any Muslims in their life. That's the melting pot we live in, ladies and gentlemen. It's okay. Randy Fine is also the guy that a week or two ago was like demanding the FCC take action, investigate, and fine NBC and the NFL for the halftime show because of the FCC violations in the language that was used by Bad Bunny. Now, the language was in Spanish, so most Americans didn't know it. But he's like, it shouldn't matter. And I agree with that. I said that the day after the Super Bowl. It shouldn't matter what language you're saying it in. If you're broadcasting it on broadcast TV regulated by the FCC in this country, and you use that, I can't use that language. I'll get fired, first of all. Second of all, Cumulus will get fined. I can't say those things. I cannot read the words of the songs of the halftime show right now on KCMO Talk Radio. I can't do it. Cumulus will get fined. I'll get fired. Can't do it. But the NFL and NBC, Super Bowl, Bad Bunny in Spanish, knock yourself out. So I'm with Randy Fine on that, and I think his joke is funny. I like a good funny joke. And there it was with Muslims and dogs. Oh, I got this gem today. I don't like to pick on Fox 4. I think they're good. They're pretty. And I got some really nice people over at Fox 4, and I used to work there. But their website today has a story up that was posted yesterday from The Hill. And The Hill, the guy that wrote his name, Dominic Mastrangelo. And it was nothing more than a recap of the Hunter Hess story, making bad remarks about Trump at the Olympics. And then J.D. Vance responding back. And they post this story, and he says, oh, yeah, there's Olympic athletes in Italy saying this and that, and Donald Trump. And it's on the Fox 4 website, and it's from The Hill. And I'm like, that story's 10 days old. Like, that's what happens over a President's Day weekend? Somebody who's been on vacation comes back and says, oh, this happened, I'll write this story. I mean, we're in the era where breaking news happens on your phone on social media long before mainstream media outlets pick that up and can go with it and literally have the time to transcribe, type a story, or even have AI do it for them. It takes a few minutes anyway to do something like that. We're 10 days in, and they've got that story up. And I really don't know when Dominic wrote this story, but it feels like he came back from a long holiday and said, oh, this happened, I got to write about it. And did. And I can't imagine anything less newsworthy than that. Royals owner John Sherman made comments in Surprise, Arizona yesterday at spring training, where the full squad had its first workout, which is a little misleading because the full squad's been there. And they're never really going to be full squad because the Royals have about a dozen players that are going to come and go throughout spring training to the World Baseball Classic, but it doesn't matter. John Sherman was there, spoke with the media, and spoke with some fans. One of the cool things about going to spring training, if you love baseball and you've never been, you should go. You can get a ball. You can easily get autographs, especially at the time before the games happen. They're all on backfields. It's open to the public. You can walk around and stand on the fence and be right there 15 feet from Bobby Witt taking batting practice. I mean, it's just such an epic experience. It literally is better before they start playing games, which is later this week. I think they play Thursday or Friday, the Royals do. And so that happens. I remember the first time I met Ned Yost. It was on a backfield at spring training, and I wasn't exactly sure who he was. He had on like golf pants and a polo shirt, and he didn't have a ball cap on, and he's standing out there. I'm like, oh, this is the guy. I know who that is. That's the Brewers manager that got fired. And Dayton Moore knows him and likes him, and he brought him in as a consultant. And he just sort of worked as like a roving guy from field to field, so I struck up a conversation. And before he was manager, he was way more interesting to talk to. And after he's manager, he's way more interesting to talk to. When he was manager, he didn't like people in the media. You know who else was like that? Bill Snyder. Bill Snyder's one of the nicest people I've ever met. When I was doing media, he didn't have any time for Kev. I get it. I understand it. You got to distance yourself. Perfect. But John Sherman was walking around yesterday and talking to fans as well. So there were two Royals new stadium stories out there. One where he was very guarded with the press, and one where he was talking with fans along fences and stuff, where members of the press heard him speak. Again, it's all on the record. There's nothing private here. You're open in a public space. So he said different things. He sounded way more optimistic and committed to downtown baseball, speaking with those fans, than he did with the media. With the media, he's still playing, oh, well, we're still looking at Kansas, and we appreciate Mayor Q and all the things that are going on. And when he was talking to the fans, he's like, I got all this other stuff. I just love downtown baseball. I've got this real bias toward it. I want to be, in the city and things like that. So it was really interesting. Not two completely different stories, just how much more. I've always dealt with this when I was in television or even on sports radio, like things that you knew were going on with a team that you can't talk about on the air because you can't confirm it, whatever. But I'd go out and do a speaking engagement. I'd say, hey, we're just friends here talking. I'm not reporting anything, but here's what I've heard. Here's what I know. And it's just a lot of times much more interesting. You get more information that way than what members of the media can give you a lot of. You heard Pete today. He's like, I know what's going on with this lady that set fire to the thing. I know that they know who she is, but I can't report anything more than that. I just can't because he can't. You just can't. Okay? But if we had a politics and a pint tonight, he might say a little bit more in a setting like that. That's what John Sherman did. And it sure sounded with Royals fans like this thing is eminently close. and it's going to be downtown, which I guess downtown now is Crown Center. I don't call it Washington Square Park. Nobody knows what that is, and it's the tiniest park in the city anyway. So it's between Union Station and the Westin. I'm going to call it Crown Center, and I think that's the marketing possibilities for the Royals in Crown Town and all the things that we've said with the logo and everything else being Crown Center. There's a lot we can do with Crown Center. There's a lot of improvement to Kansas City that can come of this. This will be glorious. This will be a place that's fallen on harder times, that's going to do great. I went down and met some of the people on the committee that have been trying to lure the Royals. As of a couple of months ago, I think they thought they were in third place. And to be honest, the experience going down there, the offices are empty. The parking garages are pretty empty. This was a weekday afternoon where there should have been a lot of bustling business. I don't think the hotels, I don't think they're doing great like they used to. I think they'd like to make those hotels great again. I think Union Station, this is me. A lot of people won't agree with this. I think it's nice that we've kept Union Station alive. I'm okay with the money we've put in it, but I think it's been misguided. I think Union Station could be a lot more epic place for people to gather in Kansas City and do a lot more interesting things and fun things than what we have. I think we could make Union Station great again with a Royals ballpark right there. I think you start incorporating the two and you well, this is the liberals' word. I'm going to take theirs because it actually works in this one. We need to reimagine Union Station. We've had our 30-year era, whatever it is, of museums that the kids go to once and then you don't go back. We've had that, right? So I think we reimagine that area and maybe make those things even greater. And if that's where the Royals are going, I'm all on board. But it sounds like that's what John Sherman wants to do. And as I've said many times before, I am not rooting for either side of the state line. If Missouri wants to pony up and they got a slush fund called Port KC and they got all this money and the state of Missouri wants to do it for the Royals, let's go. Let's break some ground. Let's build it. Let's make Crown Center great again with baseball games. And the urgency for John Sherman that nobody wants to talk about in getting this done, the urgency is now, because I'm going to predict right now, 1 year from now, there will be no opening day. The Royals will not be playing. The players will be locked out, and there will be no baseball in 27 as they work on a new collective bargaining agreement that will feature a salary cap. The owners are willing to blow up the entire business this time. They should have done this 30 years ago. I've always said you can lock the players out for 2 or 3 years, and if you do, you've flushed the talent pool. It's gone. The next stars of Major League Baseball are 16 years old, 17 years old, 18 years old. If you flush out what you have right now for 2 or 3 years or whatever it takes, the next stars are coming along. Guess what? They'll work under a salary cap. They'll be happy to play Major League Baseball for a couple $1 million a year under a salary cap. So some real disruption is likely coming in 2027 unless the players say, we're cool with the salary cap, which I can't imagine them saying to start the season. So, yes, get this thing done, get the money funded, get digging and get going, and we'll worry about the future of the Royals somewhere down the road. All right, when we return, Mark joins us. We're going to talk about Tyreek Hill released by the Dolphins. Is he a possible Chief? And we've got concert tickets to give away. Santana and Doobie Brothers are coming to Morton Amphitheater August 26th. Two of the most iconic names in music are coming to Kansas City. KCMO Talk Radio is proud to present them. Seventh caller right now wins tickets to see Santana and Doobie Brothers August 26th at the brand new Morton Amphitheater.
Vince Colonnese here, and I'm coming up at 11 after Kevin Kietzman on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
I'm inclined to say no to Tyreek Hill. I've been staunch and adamant about that. But after watching the fallout with the Chiefs and thinking back about how good it was when Tyreek Hill was here, I'd reconsider it if I thought he wasn't going to just derail the entire team with all his stupid shenanigans, getting arrested on the way to games, having his house catch on fire, beating up people at boat docks. This guy's a train wreck, and we all know it.
Him and Rashee Rice together could be exciting.
So he's available, Mark. What say you?
He probably won't be ready till what? Week 6 or 7. So you got to get him really cheap if you're going to get him, in my opinion.
Well, that fits a timeline around here, week 6 or 7, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think Mahomes will be here by week 1.
Well, you can think that. You can think that. I hope that. It's possible, but you always ramp your season up as the season goes anyway. So, I mean, Rashee Rice certainly missed early games, and they've had him back. What do you think about Marvin Harrison Jr., the wide receiver in Arizona? Apparently, they were willing to trade him in a blockbuster trade, and I heard a rumor about Xavier Worthy going to the Cardinals, Maserati Marv coming here, and I assume the Chiefs would have to give up a nice draft pick as well. Are they really going to trade this receiver?
I would like to get Marvin Harrison
I know,
Jr.
but do you think the Cardinals would really trade him?
Probably not. Unless they're getting a really nice draft picks back.
I mean, they're talking big like he's a disappointment, and they got a whole new staff out there. They've cleaned house.
Yeah.
So maybe they want to start over and not be, hanging on to somebody that was left behind. Gene Taylor, the athletic director of Kansas State, Mark, did the most incredible thing in the history of ADs. All right, he has broken the mold. It's over. He had the least popular basketball coach in America. Not just his fans wearing bags on their heads, okay? But everyone in the media. Like there's Tony Kornheiser and Seth Greenberg and all these people on ESPN and all these national writers saying Jerome Tang should have never said what he said. That was bad form. He didn't take any responsibility for himself. He looks bad. He shouldn't have done that to these players. He made them run at 6 a.m. That was wrong. He took the names off the jerseys. That was wrong. Everybody was against Jerome Tang, the whole country.
Yeah.
And then Gene Taylor fires Jerome Tang and doesn't want to pay him the $18.7 million that they owe him. And now what are all the same people saying? Gene Taylor, you idiot. What are you doing? You can't believe you did this. You got to pay that man. Here's my prediction at Bramlage tonight. Okay, I don't think they're going to have bags on their heads tonight for this game because Tang's gone. I do think they will have signs up to Gene Taylor, pay the man.
That'd be interesting.
Pay the money. Let's go, students. Do it. I would if I was a student there. You're going to try to rip off Jerome Tang. He hired a guy as his lawyer named Tom Mars, who was the top litigator, trial attorney for Walmart Corporation. Like, this guy's been in the biggest business trials of anyone in America. He now does contract and business law cases. Jerome Tang hired him right away. He took to Twitter and just won the day. I think Tom Mars is the one flipping the media narrative on this thing. He's turned the thing into a 180. He said, if you were embarrassed by students with bags on their heads or a 111 record, the athletic director and president at Kansas State don't know embarrassment yet until I start embarrassing them daily.
Good luck.
Gene Taylor's got to be fired.
Yeah.
This is absurd.
Yeah, before they hire another basketball coach.
It's absurd. There's no way you can allow Gene Taylor to go forth with this basketball program. And here's the problem. The president's name is Linton, right? He can get dragged down with him. If you want to stick with Gene Taylor as the president of the university, the Board of Regents may come knocking at your door. Like, you want to talk about embarrassment? This is way more embarrassing than losing basketball games.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God, what a train wreck in Manhattan. It's such amateur hour. I can't, and I understand Gene Taylor, and he's a good man. He's a nice person. I've been around him many times. I get all this. I've said it a million times. When people make decisions in sports that are at the top, remember this. No matter what, the decision had to be good for them. That's the first thing they think about. How does this affect my career? Gene Taylor's trying to hang on. He got rid of Tang because he thought, well, I'm going to do this before they fire me because they may keep, I've been saying it for how long? Keep Tang another year, just lose, pay him, go get a new AD. That would have been the better course. And I think Gene Taylor was hearing that thinking, boy, I better fire this guy before I get fired.
Might backfire on him either way.
It should backfire.
Yeah.
But doesn't it feel like that's all he was doing was protecting his job?
Yeah.
I hate that in sports. I absolutely hate that. All right, the Potomac River is a real sewage mess. Are you aware of the story?
No.
A big sewer pipe broke in Maryland. It's all the human waste is flowing into the river, and they're worried about the water supply in D.C. Trump, of course, is blaming the governor of Maryland, who's a Democrat, for all of this. Nantucket, the richest island in America, said, hold my beer. Nantucket's sewers are currently filled with cocaine.
Nope.
They had spikes in October and December. Their water has 3 times the national average of cocaine in it on Nantucket.